We are now in November, which is historically seen one of the most bullish months for Bitcoin. So we need to discuss exactly that because this is literally the most bullish month for the crypto market. But we will also discuss a lot more, like all of the most important Bitcoin price data. I will give a big update on my Ethereum trading position, and of course we will talk a little bit about the upcoming altcoin season. So from there guys, make sure to first of all subscribe to the channel and watch and like my latest YouTube videos, and then we can dive into the most important content. Because we are now in November, and this is the historically wise tracked from of 2011 to 2025 now, the most bullish month for Bitcoin. So if you still believe in a final push higher for Bitcoin, this is going to be the moment where it needs to be getting started. And if we zoom in into 2023 and 2024, so basically these bull market years, we can clearly see that always the real move started at the beginning of November. So if history is going to repeat here, it is going to look very good for Bitcoin. But now I'm just talking about, for example, the moves here, this bull market. But if you zoom out to, for example, the post-halving years only, you can also see it, because indeed in 2021 we did top out in November, but we still saw a final push and a final peak higher before eventually heading lower in November. And after that, Ethereum started moving even higher also, but we'll discuss that later in today's update video. So this is the first post-halving year, 2021, and then for example we also have 2017 as a post-halving year, of course. There we saw the same. After November, that was the moment after a small dip where the real move only was getting started, and also in the December month. But for me, it would not make a lot of sense to see Bitcoin topping out without seeing a bullish November, for example. Also because we closed October in the red, so I would love to see some relief in November here for Bitcoin to see where this bull market is going to be heading next. And I personally think October closing red is only going to set us up for more gains in November, I would say. I don't think history is going to repeat like we saw in 2018 and 2014, because these are completely different bear market years, and I don't think that's currently the scenario for Bitcoin and crypto. So I still think we could see a final push here in the November month, and it could be getting started much quicker than most traders expect now, because if we zoom in on Bitcoin, we are now in a big compression phase, and seems like this compression phase is about to be ending next week, and then Bitcoin is going to take the next direction. Are we going to be in for another move lower or another move higher? Let's see about exactly that. Bitcoin versus gold, like stated in yesterday's update video on the gold 70 daily correlation, we can see that if Bitcoin is going to follow this correlation once again, we are in for quite an exponential move back to the top side. And I think it's possible also because gold is now topping out, basically shifting the markets more into somewhat of a risk on environment, which is of course going to be very bullish and very beneficial for Bitcoin. This morning, China and the USA announced something massive, because there is now a US-China trade deal with a lot of details. You can just read through them yourself, but I think in total it is going to be very bullish that the USA and China do have a trade deal now, where also the US is cutting tariffs on China with 10 percentage points. So this is looking very good for the markets also. And yes, we saw this news coming in this morning, but the market did move up ever so slightly, but not that much yet. So I would say probably next week is going to be a very important one to see where we are going to be heading next, also based off this news, of course, and everything and more details that will be coming in about exactly that news. Bitcoin versus the US stock market is still in bear market territory, like we discussed on some other update videos. We could still wick here and move back up, but Bitcoin versus the US stock market is now very undervalued, I personally think, but it is also in a major danger zone, because last time we saw the Bitcoin versus SPX pair dropping below the 50 weekly moving average, we basically saw the bear market getting started. For the Bitcoin versus USD pair, this is not the case yet, and I think this pair is of course the most important Bitcoin priced in USD, but once this is going to happen, I do indeed think that the bear market might be getting started. But for now, it does look like Bitcoin is going to be holding above the 50 weekly, and otherwise of course I will keep you guys up to date on the channel if that is going to happen here. Bitcoin is still this major important resistance level. It's important for Bitcoin to be breaking this level if we do want to see new range highs, and after that maybe even new all-time highs, because every single time Bitcoin broke this exact level, we've basically always seen new all-time highs. Maybe that's not going to be the case once again. Maybe Bitcoin will top out in the range highs. Let's see about exactly that. But I think definitely once we do break that level, a range high of about 120k is going to be very possible for Bitcoin. And then we have to see where we are going to be heading next. I do think over the last week, more and more liquidity is now stacking up at the top side. So for me, it seems like max pain is starting to build up at the top side, and that is where the markets do usually tend to move towards. We could still see another flush lower, for example, to then grab out the top side liquidity, but eventually now looking at the market, I still think it's likely that Bitcoin is going to take out some of that top side liquidity, laying in that range high zone. Now I do want to give a big update on my Ethereum trading position, because I'm still in this position of 26k. We have been slowly DCAing into the channel, and now we are still in a slight loss. Basically, since we entered this trade, we've only seen boring consolidation. We survived a liquidation event, but in the end I think it's going to be worth it, and in the end, I think I will make a good return on my Ethereum trading position. So let's see about exactly that. I still have my limit orders open just in case we are going to see another flush to the downside. I do want to be accumulating there, but for now I'm still sitting on my hands. I'm waiting a little bit to see where the market is going to be heading next, because it is indeed still a little bit uncertain. So I do want to be a little bit cautious here, but I do have another 10k prepared to throw on this trade when the time is right. And if you do want to join me on this trading position, for example, trade Ethereum or a lot of other altcoin pairs, you can check out LBANK with the link in the description under my update video. Make sure to come and check it out. You can now claim a 20% deposit bonus. Of course, in no way financial advice. Always do your own research, but I'm personally trading on LBANK also here with my Ethereum trading position, and you can be claiming the bonus if you do want to do so. Now back to the Ethereum chart, we can also see something very interesting, and that is that Ethereum is looking very similar like Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is also facing this major resistance level. Just let me look it up here. This major resistance level. Ethereum is seeing something similar, but on somewhat of a shorter time frame here, shorter term perspective, where we have this major resistance level. And I think once Ethereum is going to be breaking back above that, you are going to move to the range highs, and then we could be moving higher. For example, in the ending stage of the cycle, I would not be surprised if Bitcoin is, for example, going to top out the range highs or just very small all-time highs, and that could be the moment where Ethereum is going to take over, because that is what you do want to see. You do want Ethereum to see outperforming in the ending stage of the cycle, making new all-time highs, hitting 5k, hitting 6k, sustain your rally, and that is going to give us some momentum for a period of outperformance for altcoins also. As long as that's not going to happen, it's not looking that good for altcoins. But I personally do still believe in a final wave for Ethereum, because I've been talking about these targets since the lows in the reaccumulation phase. And I still think from off this reaccumulation phase retest, we could see the next move to the 1.6.8 and the second Fibonacci levels. Those have been my targets for over a year now, and I still think we are eventually going to hit them. Also because we have been hitting all of my targets, all of my Fibonacci retracement targets have been perfectly playing out basically. So I think we have been nailing the move, and I think this is going to be next, and I will stay by my thesis. And if everything is going to change, of course, I will keep you guys up to date on the channel, and also up to date in the private VIP group, where I'm personally updating you guys, for example, this Bitcoin compression phase from this morning. I'm also personally updating everyone in this group here. You can chat with me, we can talk. Also a lot of other traders in this group like Crypto Rover and 5 professional other traders, so make sure to come and check that one out. Also in the link on the description on this update video here, you can find the link to the VIP Telegram group. So yeah, make sure to come and check it out if you're getting interested in that. And then lastly guys, if you did enjoy the update video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, come over and watch and like my latest YouTube videos, and then I will see you guys in my next update video tomorrow.